think we should go into any further details.
There was a delay in a call. The police delayed calling an ambulance for.
There was an elapsed period of time, but I believe that if you watch the video, you'll be able to make that judgment for yourself. Erica, do you want to? I'm trying to give everyone a chance to.
At least President CBS News.
Mm-hmm.
Is it known if Tyree Nichols had previously known these former officers?
We have no information to disclose about that at this time. I don't know why Chief Davis isn't here. Anything else?
Is it just body camera videos? Is it dash cam videos, surveillance? What kind of videos?
Well, the actual release will be up to the city of Memphis. My understanding is that it'll be a combination of poll cam video, skycop video, and body cam video.
We'll take just one more question. One more question.
And there will be a review of specialized units within the Memphis Police Department. Two questions. First, were these officers a member of the organized crime unit? And second, will your office be involved in that investigation?
Well, so I've read in the newspaper that Chief Davis has announced a review of those specialized units. I think that's a good idea. I commend Chief Davis for doing that. I think Chief Davis is committed to, trying to do whatever she can to learn lessons from this incident. I don't contemplate that our office would be involved in that review. I think that's about as...
Members of the organized crime unit?
So I think it's already been reported publicly that the Scorpion unit was involved.
Scorpion unit.
Okay, I'm being told that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Airport, where they can't replace that flight attendant. But the passengers say this case goes well beyond that. I'm Jewish, and I just felt terrible. I believe it's an anti-Semitic act towards this man or towards the Hasidim. Do you feel she singled you out?
100%, because I came up with a black hat, with a black jacket.
He's afraid it could happen again. Delta giving him a $500 voucher on Monday, but he flew home on American Airlines the next day instead. At LaGuardia, I'm Stacey Sager, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Outrage tonight over a possible plea deal for a man involved in a bias attack. Wasim Awadeh in Lower Manhattan courtroom today. In May of 2021, the victim was wearing a yarmulke when he was attacked while participating in a pro-Israel rally. Awadeh was expected to plead guilty to attempted assault as a hate crime. The victim and his father spoke outside the courtroom today.
He's just very worn out and overwhelmed. It's been over a year and a half. Still a little tough. Obviously, I look over my shoulder. I feel like I have a target on my back sometimes.
Asians were getting attacked. Nothing was done. My son who wears a yarmulke gets attacked, almost gets killed. It's just not right. It's just disgusting. And this is what New York City's about now. I guess it just makes you want to leave.
The DA says there is no plea agreement yet. Two other people now facing prison sentences of up to 15 years.
Well, new information on the school strike threat in Patterson. Teachers who held a rally yesterday.
Sold Powerball on Saturday, so good
Somebody
luck.
get us some tickets, Ian. Come on.
Get the fish kill or get the new burger. Go to both. I think that's the one. Is that the one with fish kill there? I think that is.
I mean, I recognize the sign. We've heard it like every week.
Because we had the go there once.
Turned themselves in. They have now all been booked. 29-year-old Tyree Nichols was pulled over for alleged reckless driving just yards from his home. Authorities say officers used pepper spray. He fled, was confronted again. This is how his parents found him in the hospital. He died 3 days later. The family says the officers brutally beat him. Tonight, Memphis authorities say the video will be released sometime tomorrow night. They are urging calm. So is the family of Tyree Nichols, and so is President Biden tonight. ABC's Elwin Lopez leading us off in Memphis.
5 individuals played a different role in the incident in question. The actions of all of them resulted in the death of Tyree Nichols, and they are all responsible.
The 5 former officers are charged with second-degree murder, aggravated kidnapping, and assault, among other crimes.
Under the laws of Tennessee, second-degree murder is a knowing killing.
Police say Nichols was pulled over for alleged reckless driving on the night of January 7th.
There's one running on foot.
According to the district attorney, after an initial altercation with police, pepper spray was deployed. Nichols then fleeing. He was confronted again, resulting in serious injuries. Memphis police is saying Nichols complained of having a shortness of breath, at which time an ambulance was called to the scene. The 29-year-old, critically injured, died 3 days later. The family commissioning an independent autopsy, their attorney stating preliminary findings show Nichols suffered extensive bleeding caused by severe beating. At this time, that autopsy has not been publicly disclosed, and ABC News has not seen it. 2 Memphis Fire Department personnel involved in treating Nichols were, quote, relieved of duty while an internal investigation is being conducted. Those 5 officers, all part of the department's street crime unit, known as Scorpion, fired after an internal investigation concluded they, quote, violated multiple department policies, including excessive use of force, duty to intervene, and duty to render aid.
This is not just a professional failing. This is a failing of basic humanity toward another individual.
And tonight, attorneys for the family stating that these 5 officers being held criminally accountable for their deadly and brutal actions gives us hope as we continue to push for justice for Tyree. Attorneys for 2 of the former officers, Desmond Mills Jr. and Emmett Martin, saying their clients intend to plead not guilty.
No one out there that night intended for Tyree Nichols to die.
Elwyn Lopez with us live in Memphis tonight. And Elwyn, we know the president...
He saved the American middle class, he created national parks, he took apart corporate monopolies. And for those reasons, New York City had a statue of him for about 100 years. But now the city has taken it down, because by comparison, the people currently in charge don't look that impressive. So in its place, the city of New York has just erected a statue on top of a courthouse that can only be described, if you look carefully, as demonic. It depicts a woman with braids shaped as horns. Apparently it's supposed to honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg and her unflinching support for child sacrifice. We can only guess as to what it's doing there. Jason Whitlock is the host of Fearless. We've asked him to help assess what we're looking at here. Jason, thanks so much for coming on. So, I don't think like you're a hysterical evangelical if you look at this thing and say, well, this looks like a representation, historic representation of something satanic.
Tucker, I apologize. You gave me a tough act to follow. That opening segment was incredible with you and Dr. Malone exposed. And so it's a tough segue for me because I can't take this statue and the left seriously. They're a joke, and so all I can think of is jokes. And so I just have to think that if this is what they did for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and we've seen what they did for Martin Luther King in Boston, can you imagine what they're planning for Ketanji Brown Jackson? My God, I'm sure they're building the first non-binary, multiple gender statue that will depict Ketanji Brown Jackson probably holding her crotch and listing her pronouns as D's walnuts. I mean, I can just imagine what Wellesley College is thinking right now about Hillary Clinton. She graduated from Wellesley College. She's the real 45, and I heard they have a statue plan for her, the real 45. Hillary will be depicted swinging from a brown paper bag containing a bottle of Colt 45 malt liquor. From what I understand, I've been told the WNBA, they're planning a statue for the greatest war prisoner since John McCain, Brittany Griner. Of course, you remember her, the political prisoner in Russia. Well. They're planning a statue for her, 6'8" statue. She'll be inhaling from a giant bong while she's waiting in the green room of Bill Maher's deal. And so they're going to celebrate Brittany Griner. And Tucker, this is a family show, so I'm not going to go into details about how San Francisco plans to honor Nancy Pelosi and those giant cans she bought with her insider trading money. But I can tell you that Paul Pelosi's hammer will be part of the erection.
So I actually look forward to all the statues. You just completely changed. The Hillary Clinton hitting the brown paper bag. Hillary as wino. I mean, I can't wait for that. Thank you, Jason Whitlock. You improved my mood dramatically. Great to see you.
Thank you.
So it's tough to believe we live in a country where you could be fired from your job for having the wrong thoughts or reading unapproved political materials. But unfortunately, that is the country we're becoming. It happened to Carol Lynn. She used to work for a small games company called Limited Run Games. Then the mob found out that she followed certain forbidden Twitter accounts, including libs of TikTok. Now this mob, and this is usually the case, was led by a single activist on Twitter, along with a small message board called Reset Era. As a result of this mob action, Carolyn was fired, and we want to understand exactly why and what happened. Carolyn joins us tonight. Carolyn, thank you so much for coming on. Do we oversimplify that? So you followed the wrong people on Twitter and lost your job for it?
To me, I think that's kind of what sums it up. The funny thing about it is, it's accounts that I follow accounts of every political affiliation, and I'm the type of person who likes to see from every direction, and so I follow a variety of accounts.
So when they called you in to fire you, did they say, we believe you've been reading the wrong things? Like, how did they phrase it?
No. It was more of the publicity that was getting it. That was the main thing. They had no qualms with who I followed or anything like that.
But you lost your job as a result of it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's not supposed to happen in a free country with a First Amendment, right?
I would hope not.
Yeah, but it did. You're so good-humored about it. I mean, I'm like outraged on your behalf. I hope that the lesson you take is you go follow even more forbidden Twitter accounts and that you make more money and an even better job. We are rooting for you. Carolyn, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So crime is so bad in the city of Chicago, you don't need to be an ideologue to notice it. All kinds of people are noticing it, and they're leaving Chicago. Lori Lightfoot is the main reason for that. She's the current failed mayor. She's up for re-election. So running against her is a businessman who doesn't like crime and wants to stop it. And we're very intrigued by that, so we're going to talk to him next.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and in light of the recent events,
It's one of the reasons it's so dangerous. She was asked the other day about street vendors being robbed, and she said, well, they shouldn't carry cash. She also thinks the police should not be allowed to chase criminals on foot. But she is up for re-election right about now, very soon, and in a debate this month, the candidate who's running against her, called Willie Wilson, had a very different solution for stopping crime. Here it is.
We'll be tough on crime. We'll move all the restriction things from our police officer. Somebody chase somebody by foot or car, that police officer should be able to chase them down and hunt them down like a rabbit.
Willie Wilson, a candidate for mayor of Chicago, our preferred candidate, an American hero, joins us tonight. Mr. Wilson, thank you so much for coming on. So when you said that police should be able to chase down criminals like rabbits, obviously we cheered. Did you mean that?
Well, here's what I meant. I lost a 20-year-old son. He was murdered by a gun. These people need to be caught. Too many restrictions on the police department. We need to take the handcuffs off the police officer and put them on the people who's actually doing it. And it needs to stop now. This particular mayor that we have right now just keep coming up with excuses. But people keep dying on the street. Nobody doing anything about it but excuses. So, no, when we become mayor of the city of Chicago, we're going to put a stop to this crime. We're going to take back our police officer, men and women, and get the job done. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see no other family go through what I've been through. The loss of a son, or lose a daughter, or something of that nature. We're going to stop it.
I mean, crime is voluntary. You get exactly as much as you put up with. Everyone knows that. You're saying it out loud. You've been attacked for saying it by the media in Chicago, despicably. Most voters must agree with you, though, I would think.
Well, you know, it's basically how I feel. I'm tired of it. Look, when you lose someone, a loved one, okay, you act out of your emotion, okay?
Yeah.
But we're not going to let crooks turn around the next week or the next day and commit a crime to someone else. A mayor's first duty is protect its citizen. You know?
Yes.
And she getting paid to do a job. If she cannot do her job, when you get paid to do a job, if you cannot do it, you need to be fired. Just point blank. We do that in corporate America. You know?
Yeah.
But this mayor is the worst mayor that I think she'll go down in history. You know? We have to back our police officers, take the handcuffs off them, take some of these rules, take some of these policies off them, get them days off, make sure we treat them like heroes that goes out and protect us. And we must do this on a continuous basis. And we must make sure that the police officers respect us and the citizens respect them. Right now, the police officer do something, they're too afraid if they do something, they'll get locked up.
Of course.
You cannot do your job that way, you know? And look, crime has no color. You know, when you commit a crime, it's hurt, you know? So it has no color. But if this mayor here cannot do the job, keep making excuses after excuses, people are tired and sick of this stuff. I'm one that running for mayor. I don't want a paycheck. Nothing. Okay? I just want to fix the problem for our citizens. I want to make sure to encourage our police officers that know, look, we got their back covered. And those people who run the street going to commit crime again, we're going to catch them. We're going to catch them, and we're going to make sure that they pay for what they have done. And let's just get this whole situation right.
Yeah, well, you'll solve the problem if you do that. Willie Wilson, running for the mayor of Chicago, very soon. Thank you so much. So in case you're wondering what's really going on, at the same moment this left is absolutely determined to sexualize your children, they are refusing to punish pedophiles and sex offenders. One lawmaker in New Mexico has a plan to change that. Joins us after the break to explain.
The crisis inside Ukraine has reached a catastrophic level, with the elderly Jews pushed to the very limit.
Go inside. She's freezing cold. There's no electricity, no heat, no water. Winter is now a weapon of war, used against the elderly, the mothers, and the young children.
I've been lined up here for hours. These are precious people who are hungry, and they have nothing. If someone doesn't do something soon, a humanitarian disaster is coming. So many Jewish people who are just waiting for someone to care enough to pick up the phone.
Fears are growing that without an emergency, full-scale response, thousands will die this winter.
The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews needs your $45 gift now to help rush a winter survival box filled with food, medicines, and other life-saving supplies for elderly Jews and families in Ukraine.
They felt the shaking of missiles. These are people who have already endured so much suffering and disaster.
The fellowship has been here and across the former Soviet Union for decades, but the need has never been more urgent.
Taking out power, taking out water, simple water to drink. We're talking about the difference between life or death. Christian, Jew, standing shoulder to shoulder, saying, we're here to heal, we're here to help.
Your gift of only $45 helps rush a winter survival box filled with food, medicines, and other life-saving supplies for elderly Jews and families in Ukraine to survive the winter. Please call or go online right now.
My name is Dr. Joseph Carita. Before I would ever give a product to a patient, I tried on myself. So I started taking Super Beets and I said, wow, Super Beets is doing a whole bunch of things at once. It helps dilate blood vessels. It helps increase my circulation. It's having a beneficial effect on my heart and my energy. It makes me healthier.
Inspired by the Nobel Prize-winning discovery of nitric oxide for its important role in regulating cardiovascular health, Super Beets superfoods make doing more to support your nitric oxide production simple. Superfoods like our Super Beets crystals or our heart chews with clinically studied grapeseed extract to help promote normal blood pressure nearly 2 times more effectively than a healthy lifestyle alone.
My mom always used to say, eat your beets, it's good for you. Boy, was she right.
See why we've earned over 50,000 5-star ratings and reviews. Visit superbeets.com and find out how you can get a 30-day supply absolutely free. Plus, free shipping with your first order. Use discount code Fox News and get an extra 20% off. So act now.
When you can't watch, listen. Get the latest news, business, and news headlines on SiriusXM. Anytime, anywhere. Fox News Audio on SiriusXM. America is listening.
Brand new questions surrounding the Biden's family ties to foreign governments. Is the president compromised? Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, he reacts tonight on Hannity.
Searching for ways to save energy and make your home more comfortable this winter? The Total Home Comfort program from National Grid helps you wrap your home in layers of savings and efficiency with insulation that's like a comfortable sweater and air sealing that's like a warm jacket. These work together with replacement windows and pipe insulation to save you energy all year long. As global energy prices continue to rise, we're here to help. Learn more at ngrid.com/totalhomecomfort.
Dull hardwood floor? Quick Shine It. Restore and protect the color and beauty of your floors. Squirt, spread, done. One quick and easy cleaning? Quick Shine It. Maintain that deep rich glow with Quick Shine Safer Choice cleaners. Spray, mop, done. Safer choice, always. Quick Shine It. Safer for kids, pets, and our environment. Awarded 2019 Safer Choice Partner of the Year. Quick Shine. Formulated for hardwoods and all hard surface floors. It's like a new floor in a bottle.
Democrats 30 years ago would be shocked at what has happened to their party. If they could fast forward decades, they wouldn't recognize it. All of a sudden, the party, as a party, is aggressively sexualizing children, not just drag queen story hours, not just the mutilation of children, sexual mutilation, gender ideology, but pushing graphic sexualization in schools of little kids. And at the same time, many of our leaders are refusing to punish pedophiles. So Stephanie Lord is a state representative in New Mexico and has noticed this, and she's trying to get a couple of bills passed that punish child sex abusers, and they've been rejected by Democrats. So now she has a new idea. Her idea is chemical castration isn't just for kids. How about doing it to pedophiles too? Stephanie Lord is a New Mexico state representative. She joins us tonight. Stephanie, thank you so much for coming on. So rather than have us characterize your idea, if you wouldn't mind explaining what it is.
Thank you, Tucker. It's an honor to be on your show, and I'm very grateful to be here, and I'm glad you're giving me this opportunity to talk about this. So I want to make something really clear. In New Mexico, the majority of people in our state are moderate Democrats, but unfortunately we've got some progressive Democrats that are pushing forward some radical ideology. So my first session, when I was up here, there was quite a few bills to be soft on criminals, let criminals out, give them special things that they wouldn't normally have. So I kept presenting amendments that said, okay, well, you want to let the criminals out early. How about not pedophiles? How about we don't be nice and don't give them special treatment? Yeah, how about that? And so I even presented an amendment about let's not let them cut children's hair, because that idea actually disgusts me, to have them put their hands on children. And every amendment I presented was shot down, literally. So it really got me thinking, so what can I do? What is something that I can do in this next session when I got reelected? What can I do? And I happened to see this bill in Tennessee that was based off the Alabama bill on chemical castration. I looked at it, I thought, this is a great idea. This is a way to, a tool that we can use to keep these pedophiles away from our children. That's all that I wanted. That's all I ever wanted out of this.
So have you considered calling it puberty blockers? If you did that, maybe every Democrat in New Mexico would vote for it.
That's a great idea. Well, that is what's frustrating. It's the few progressives that we have, because we have some actually really good Democrats, but the progressive ideology has taken over, and it's frustrating because I was a Democrat till 1997. I don't even recognize the party anymore. But yeah, the whole goal, for me, I'm very passionate, and it comes from my heart. I just don't want pedophiles to get any special treatment or to be allowed early out of prison.
Well, I've got to think, I know New Mexico, and you're right, it's a very moderate state, mostly Democrats. I would think the majority of people in New Mexico, the voters would be in favor of this.
Yes, I think the voters are definitely in favor of this, because I don't know anybody that's on the side of pedophiles. The problem is that I have more leeway on my side of the party. I can disagree with my party all day long, and I do. They'll tell you that. If I don't feel that something is correct or right for my district, I won't vote for them. But I think there's more of a push on their side where they have to align, and it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
So I think they got some pushback on that, and that's really unfortunate. That's really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that's a really smart insight. They stick together. That's where their power is. They know it.
Yes.
And it works, unfortunately. Stephanie Lord, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So we opened the show with this pretty amazing, really amazing series of videos from Project Veritas showing a Pfizer executive admitting the company is engaged in something called directed evolution of the virus. That means mutating the coronaviruses on purpose to make them more dangerous. The executive now says he was lying to impress a date. So you see these videos, and 12 million people have seen them on Twitter. You want to know more about this guy and about Pfizer. Why wouldn't you want to know? It's your country. But big tech quickly took action, apparently, to protect Pfizer and to censor the story. Google, it looks like, censored searches for the story almost immediately. Now, why did they do that? And how can we stop them from doing that, since they have a monopoly? Ken Buck is a member of Congress representing the state of Colorado, also authored the book Crushed, Big Tech's War on Free Speech, and truly a champion on this issue in the Congress, joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So Google has a monopoly on speech, over 90% on search, over 90% in the United States. How are they allowed to do this?
Well, Tucker, they do it. We know that in June of 2020, they changed their algorithm to benefit Joe Biden and disadvantage Donald Trump. We know that so many conservative newspapers and media sites are buried on page 10 of any Google search, and the views that they want to espouse, that they want to promote, are found at the top of the page. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that they are protecting one of their other corporate giants.
What I don't understand is that Google is a monopoly acting contrary to American law. You're not allowed to have a monopoly. They have one. Congress allows it. I'm sorry to say this, Congressman, there are a lot of members of your party who look the other way or actively defend it. I don't understand why there aren't more people like you in the Republican Party saying, no, this is wrong and it's illegal.
Yeah, actually the Democrats are leading on this issue beyond what the Republicans are willing to do, and it's unfortunate. There are great senators like Mike Lee, who is an advocate for antitrust reform. There are other folks in the Senate, and there are some in the House. But we have an uphill battle with our Republican colleagues to get this job done with big tech.
Without, giving away and alienating lifelong friendships, perhaps, but I mean, it does feel like Google spreads a lot of money around the Congress. Is that your perception?
These four giants, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google, have spent over $150 million in a 2-year period in races around the country, as well as buying off think tanks and on the right and left in Washington, D.C. So they are throwing a lot of money at this issue.
Yeah, I noticed that, and it shows. Well, we appreciate your leadership in this, Congressman. Ken Buck of Colorado, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So his very first day as President, Joe Biden promised to put equity at the center of all decisions, including hiring federal judges. How's that working out? Well, we have the tape next.
Home. Home. Something to be proud of. Home. Safe. Comfort. Worthy of protection.
Family.
Home. I was deployed to Afghanistan.
I was on patrol March 26, 2010. During a dismounted patrol,
I happened to step in the wrong spot
and took a sniper round into the chest.
This is the date I was hit.
I lost my legs almost immediately.
I lost my left hand and both my legs above the knee.
My arm was gone, so I closed my eyes, thinking to myself, if I just keep breathing, I will make it home to my wife. I just wanted to serve my country. Every day I'm still adapting to this new life.
It was hard having everybody change their lifestyle to take care of me. A typical home doesn't feel like home to me.
They have to carry my chair up the stairs.
The hardest thing in my life is to have to call and yell for my children to help pick me off the bathroom floor. Where do you go when home isn't home anymore?
There are over 1,000 families that need our help. Talented Towers is honoring those heroes that risk their lives by providing them with mortgage-free homes.
Yes, I'm on the waiting list to have a home built. It's going to be amazing.
This smart home technology, it makes my life a whole lot easier.
And it's 100% accessible. It's built to fit my needs. For me to gain independence again would be just amazing.
Be able to just take care of myself as an individual. This home will allow me to be self-sufficient.
It'll help me live my life. It gives me back some of my dignity, who I used to be.
There is a waiting list for houses.
This is the waiting list. There are a lot of people on that list, yeah.
There are a lot of guys like me out there. Maybe too many. Gives you back your dignity, your pride, your self-perseverance.
Thanks to Talented Towers, I'm going to have all these freedoms given back to me. Home.
Personal. Safety.
Dignity. Family. Independence. Confidence. It's the American dream, isn't it? Home.
I'd like to ask you to contribute $11 a month to support their efforts. Please visit TalenTedTowers.org.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself. In my case, it kept me from living the life I love with the people I love. I had no idea where the solution was going to come from until I found Relief Factor. Now I'm able to say yes when the opportunity comes along, especially to spend time with my family and friends. Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain. I just feel better and more confident. Would you like to get back to living the life you used to live without aches and pains? That's what Relief Factor's done for me. About 70% of the people who try Relief Factor go on to order more, and it's 100% drug-free.
Join me and hundreds of thousands of others. Get your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Move more, live more, and just decide that now is the time to enjoy your life more. Call 1-800-4RELIEF to order now, or go to ReliefFactor.com.
Invest in your family. Invest in yourself. And feel the difference with Relief Factor.
Hi, I'm Elmer Heinrich. My company sells Immuno 150. Now, many people ask us how we can sell a month's supply of Immuno 150 for less than $60 when most of our competition is $80 to $90 a month. It's simple. We don't pay celebrities to hawk Immuno 150, and we don't pay testimonial people to say something good about the product. Immuno 150 stands on its own with its 70 minerals and 80 other nutrients. Go to the website on the screen or call the toll-free number. Order now. You'll be glad you did.
I'm here to tell you about saving money on your cellular service. All right, here we have cups of coffee from the same pot. These are more expensive. This one, just $1. Which would you buy? It's simple, right? That's why thousands of people have switched to Pure Talk. They use the same network as the larger providers. That's right, the same network for much less, with plans at $30 a month for unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data. Look at these stats. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. And you get to keep the same phone and same phone number with no contract, no hassle, and no hidden fees. You get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. And remember, you'll get the same number of bars because it's on the same network as the larger providers. Saving is easy. Dial pound 250 and say Pure TV to save 50% off your first month. Pure Talk. Simply smarter wireless.
As women, our bodies change as we age, and it's not as easy to lose weight anymore. That's why I teamed up with the experts at Nutrisystem to help create their newest plans specifically designed for women ages 55 and up. Introducing Complete 55, weight loss made for women by women.
Get protein-powered meals delivered to your door, including Hearty Inspirations meals that control hunger for up to 5 hours. Go online or call right now to get today's special offer on Complete 55.
In November of 2022, the cryptocurrency exchange FTX collapsed. Billions of dollars vanished instantly. CEO Sam Bankman-Fried was indicted, but the nearly $10 billion he stole is wasted on real estate, drugs, and Democratic campaigns.
This might be the biggest scam of all time.
Tucker Carlson Originals, Scam, Bankrupt, Fraud. The story of FTX, streaming now on Fox Nation.
Joe Biden promised the first day to make every decision as president on the basis of something called equity. So what's that look like in real life? Well, here's one judicial confirmation federal judge's hearing in the Senate from yesterday. Watch this.
Judge, on the far end, tell me what Article 5 of the Constitution does.
Article 5 is not coming to mind at the moment.
Okay. How about Article 2?
Neither is Article 2.
You want to be a federal judge and you don't know what Article 5, which allows us to amend the Constitution, or Article 2, which creates the executive branch, you don't know what those are? And you want to be a federal judge whose whole job is to interpret the Constitution, but you don't know what its articles say? Yeah, it's equity. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a great night.
Welcome to Hannity, and we begin this busy news night with a Fox News alert. The state of Tennessee is now on edge tonight. 5 former Memphis police officers, they now have been arrested, and they have been charged with second-degree murder after purportedly beating a FedEx delivery driver to death after a traffic stop. This all happened on January the 7th at 8:30 p.m. Now, Tyree Nichols was pulled over for reckless driving. He was, according to reports, asking why he was pulled over, and then that involved a back and forth with the police. Tonight, he is dead. Tomorrow, body cam footage showing this reportedly horrific beating. Look at this face. Will be released to the public, and we are told it will be extremely graphic in nature and hard to watch. Now, the city of Memphis, as well as cities all across the country, they are bracing for the potential of violent riots. So what can we expect in the coming hours and days? I don't know. And let's pray for peace. And don't forget, we are also awaiting the release of the body cam footage in the Paul Pelosi attack. Mark Garagos may have some insight into that. He will share it with us later in the program. But first, joining us now with the very latest on the ground tonight in Memphis, Steve Harrigan is with us. Steve, my understanding is that the mother of Tyree could only watch this for a minute before she had to turn away. She couldn't watch anymore. Others have described this tape as a brutal beating of 5 officers. Is that what you're hearing?
That's right, Sean. A lot of professionals who've been in the business for decades say this is absolutely the worst, most horrific video they've ever seen in all their experience. So we can just imagine what's going to be on it, and we could find out as early as 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. That's when the tape is expected to be released to the public. As of now, those 5 former Memphis police officers have all faced now multiple charges, including second-degree murder. So they could end up to 60 years in jail. And 29-year-old Tyree Nichols, he was beaten savagely on that videotape, and the head of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation says it's simply difficult for professionals even to watch this tape.
I'm shocked. I'm sickened by what I saw. And what we've learned through our extensive and thorough investigation. I've seen the video, and as D.A. Morley stated, you will too. In a word, it's absolutely appalling.
This all started out as a traffic stop, 8:30 at night. Tyree Nichols was accused of reckless driving. There was a confrontation at the car. He ran, and then there was a second confrontation. The final beating took place less than 100 yards from his house where he lived with his parents. According to attorneys for the family, he called out for his mother and said, "What did I do?" Sean, back to you.
All right, we'll find out tomorrow. Sad story in the end. We'll find out what happens in all of this. We'll know by this time tomorrow evening. Now, the 5 former Memphis police officers now all face a series of charges, including second-degree murder. That could carry a penalty of 15 to 60 years. Now, by the way, and on top of that, we have Memphis police, and Memphis, the city, is now on a state of high alert tonight, and we're going to continue to monitor all of this as it unfolds. Now we head to the Washington swamp, where President Biden once again is having a very hard time, mired in scandal and plagued by his own cognitive decline. Joe Biden decided to take a big trip away from the Oval Office. Today he actually managed to travel a whole 10 miles, crossing the mighty Potomac River into Northern Virginia. Wow, what a long trip. Unfortunately, the purpose for this outing was not exactly clear, and his bizarre, disjointed speech was almost impossible for anybody to comprehend. We've got the videotape. You decide.
When I was seeking the nomination, I said, "Take a seat, everybody." And there wasn't a single chair in the place. I said, "That Biden really is stupid. He doesn't know it." Where's Doug? Congressman. He's around here somewhere. I've been saying this during the last campaign, the off-year campaign. Doug knows it. Look, here's the deal. You know, they view the world from Park Avenue. I view it where the wealthy, in fact, if everything works well for them, all that's going to trickle down and help the rest of us. Well, I come from a background where that never worked. Talk about being deprived of your pride. Look at your child. Your child. If you don't think we have a climate crisis, come travel with me around the country. No, I'm not joking. Go back. Go back. And here we are. No president added more to the debt in 4 years than my president. I misspoke. 25% of our country's entire debt.
Not very good. Anyway, I think we all know who is Doug. Memory loss, difficulty communicating, finding words, difficulty with handling complex tasks. Those are symptoms of dementia. Ask yourself, is this the person that's really capable of conducting debt ceiling negotiations? Is he able to act in good faith? Does he really fully comprehend and understand what is exactly going on? Because for 2 years, your president, Joey Biden, was able to hide behind the Democratic-controlled House, Senate, and the media mob protected him. But now, for the first time in his presidency, Joe, your president, will face legitimate oversight if and only if House Republicans stick together. So what can we expect from these debt ceiling negotiations? And now with more. Fox Business host Larry Kudlow. Larry, great to have you. The first thing that people need to understand is this problem with the debt ceiling is not imminent. We're looking at May or June before it really becomes a significant issue. Kevin McCarthy rightly has been trying to negotiate with Joe Biden. Joe Biden has said no to those negotiations, the very opposite of what he said in 2011 when they came up with the Deficit Reduction Act, and sequestration followed that. So the question is, why won't Joe now negotiate? Does he think the Republicans won't unite behind Kevin McCarthy? Does he think he's able to break the Republican coalition? Because I can predict tonight, after talking to many factions in the Republican Party, that's not going to happen. They're going to be together.
Well, Sean, you know, it's very important. Biden and Schumer and Jeffries, they're all giving us this big lie. Here's the big lie. The Republicans are going to cut into Social Security. The Republicans are going to cut Medicare. The Republicans are going to default on the debt. It is a complete lie. Sean, this week, in recent days, today and 2 days ago, I interviewed Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Today I interviewed Majority Leader Steve Scalise. They both said emphatically they're not going after Social Security, they're not going after Medicare, and they will make good on the government debt. So what you got here is Biden with this big lie. You know, this is what authoritarians do. This is what totalitarians do. They say something that's not true, they keep repeating it, and they hope that somehow it's going to become true. McCarthy's too smart for this. Scalise is too smart for this. Probably the country's too smart for this. The basic point here is the Democrats will do anything, Sean, not to cut spending. And right now, spending And the bloated size of government is the single biggest problem. It is the single biggest obstacle to economic growth and prosperity. Middle-income folks are getting killed. So this is just craziness, this big lie. And they're just denying it. I mean, I've been playing it on my show. The leaders of the Republican House are not going to do it. And Biden's just going out with this baloney and malarkey. It's like some totalitarian dictator.
96% debt to GDP ratio right now. That is almost a mathematical certainty that inflation will continue and will continue with a bad economy. But I want to take you back to 2011, Joe Biden, comments he made on debt ceiling negotiations. Now he's saying no negotiations. How can you explain the fact that grown men and women are unwilling to budge up until now, and still some of them are still unwilling to budge by taking an absolute position, my way or no way? That's not governing. That's no way to govern. You can't govern that way. This is a cycle. I predict to you that a lot of those new members who came here with my way or the highway, they'll either be on the highway or learn that they're going to have to compromise. So I am betting, and I think the Democratic Party is betting on that the Republican Party in the House will not stick together. I have spoken to all of the top players that I think are going to have a key role in all of this. They've all said the same thing. They will unite around a position. There's about 15 different plans being tossed around. They're all dealing with spending, and they'll agree. That's my prediction. What's yours?
Well, I basically agree. Look, the position that Biden that he's not going to negotiate cannot hold. All right? Republicans will stick together. And by the way, they're going to get some Democratic support in the House and even in the Senate. Look, to raise the debt ceiling, they're going to have budget cuts. Otherwise, we're going to continue with this inflation, and we're going to continue with what looks like a recession. Today's GDP number was really a lousy number when you look under the hood. You know, go back to 2011, Sean. I like that. John Boehner toughed it out with Barack Obama, and Boehner got spending caps, okay? Boehner got a reduction in overall spending. Boehner stopped tax hikes. Barack Obama started out, arrogantly not negotiating. Boehner succeeded, okay? I think that Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise and the others will also succeed. I actually think they're going to get some help from the Senate this time around. But the crazy point is, the government is spending 24% of our economy. If you go to the states and the localities, federal, state, and local, 44% of our economy. And that's why you're getting, for all of 22, you just got the last numbers today, the economy grew at 1%, Sean. That's the worst performance since the financial meltdown in 2008 and 2009. The inflation rate for the whole year was 6.3%. That is the highest inflation in 40 years. What's the culprit here? $5 to $6 trillion of spending and borrowing, okay? And then student debt cancellations could add another $600-800 billion. So, no, you're right. There will be negotiations. The GOP is not going to destroy the big entitlement programs. The GOP will make good on the debt. But here's the thing. They will insist on spending cuts, on
the consequences. Well, again, we can't say for sure. We can only tell you what Jordan Walker said. And, of course, the point is to make money.
Isn't that the best business model, though? Like, just control nature before nature even happens itself, right?
Yeah, if it works.
What do you mean if it works?
Because, like, some of the times there were just mutations that pop up, right? And we're not prepared for it, like a Delta or Omicron and things like that. So, who knows? I mean, either way, it could be a cash cow. COVID could probably be a cash cow for us for a while going forward.
Yeah.
I obviously like that.
Well, I think the whole, research of the viruses and mutating it, would be the ultimate, cash cow.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Now, a couple things to notice about that exchange. One, Walker's thought this through. This is not just off the top of his head. He's not stupid. And he's clearly thought through the potential consequences of this research. But he also is honest enough to admit that it could be a cash cow. And then he says, and he laughs as he says it, COVID's been a cash cow for us. So imagine two pharma executives meeting in a bar and one is saying, how can we get kids to smoke more cigarettes? Because, cancer is a cash cow for us. People would recoil in horror. And by the way, regulators would be on this. Where are the regulators? You can't just come up with a drug, claim it works, get the government to enforce people's requirement to take it. You have to go through regulators. Where are they? Why aren't they regulating a company like Pfizer? Could it be that regulatory capture is real? We don't have to guess anymore because Jordan Walker explains it for us. Watch this.
I don't know revolving door for all government officials. Wow. Yeah, for any industry though. So like in the pharma industry, all the government officials who review our drugs, once they come work for pharma companies. Like the military, like all the army and defense government officials eventually go work for the defense company afterwards.
How do you feel about that revolving door?
It's pretty good for the industry to be honest.
Yeah.
It's bad for everyone else in America.
Why is it bad for everybody else?
Because it's the regulators, so for people that drugs, that once they stop being regulated, they want to work for the company, but I mean, it's hard for the company. They're getting their job.
Right. You work for Pfizer. My question for you is, why does Pfizer want to hide from the public the fact that they're mutating the COVID viruses?
Is this real life? I'm literally a liar. I was trying to impress a person on a date by lying. This is absurd.
Don't touch me. Well, this is not, by the way, don't tell anybody.
Someone who's just working in a company to literally help the public.
So that was the end of it. James O'Keefe of Project Veritas shows up and informs Walker he's been recorded, and he's clearly upset, and of course you can understand why. He's shocked. He didn't know anyone was filming. Someone was. But what's so interesting is his first excuse is, I was lying. When in fact, he has explained in a very sophisticated and very believable way how Washington works. We just promise to hire the regulators, and then they don't really regulate us. What you see happening in the defense industry with generals from the Pentagon happens in pharma too. The regulators hope to get rich working here. And that's true. And no executive at a pharma company has ever been filmed saying that on camera before. That's not a lie. That's the truest thing ever spoken in Washington, D.C. And then the situation begins to degrade. So Walker, who is supposed to be a highly credentialed man of science, a clear-thinking scientist, completely loses control of himself. He becomes hysterical and violent. At one point, he calls the police to complain there are too many white people in his presence, and he feels unsafe. And then, of course, he becomes violent again. Stop hitting me, he says, as he punches you in the face. Of course. It's a remarkable scene. Here's part of it.
You want to put me in jail for asking you a question?
Yes, sir.
What is the intention of calling the police?
They have no intention right now.
Could I talk to you, please, about this video?
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white.
Why would you bring race into this?
Please bring the cops as soon as possible. Very unsafe.
Please unlock the door. Please unlock the door. Please unlock the door. 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 This is remarkable here. Thank you. We're trying to unlock the door. Unlock the door. Unlock the door. Unlock the door.
Wow. Well, that didn't go well. That man doesn't seem like much of a scientist. On the one hand, you can kind of feel for him. On the other hand, what was that? But more than anything, you've got questions. What was that? This guy's a pretty high-level Pfizer executive confirming a lot of things you already suspected and telling you things you had no idea were going on. So, of course, you'd want to know, what? Was that real? And what does Pfizer have to say about it? Well, no one else is calling Pfizer, so we did. We called them repeatedly today. And we asked very basic questions. Does this guy, does Walker still work for you? And if not, when did he leave the company? And more than anything, are you actually conducting experiments or considering conducting experiments to mutate new and more dangerous coronaviruses because it would be a cash cow? And if you are doing that or thinking about doing it, have you received any U.S. government funding? Are taxpayers paying for this? And by the way, do you agree with this executive that COVID came from a lab? We didn't have complex questions, very simple ones. We called and emailed Pfizer all day. But despite their famously well-funded PR department, all the lobbying money they spend, they did not get back to us. They refused to answer. So we contacted instead Dr. Robert Malone, who's one of the inventors of the mRNA technology used in Pfizer's COVID shots. He's a world-famous expert on this subject. You can read him on Substack, and we're happy to have him join us right now. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on. So this is a very complex subject, and we're grateful that you're here. From what you saw in that tape, does it sound like Pfizer is conducting or contemplating conducting research that is effectively like gain of function?
Hi, Tucker. It's great to be here, and thanks.
Thank you.
It appears that they are recapitulating exactly what was done at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, right down to serial passage, in their case, in monkeys instead of humanized mice. But the buried lead in this, Tucker, if you don't mind me saying so, is the implicit acknowledgement that they cannot construct vaccines fast enough. The virus is outrunning them, and they're having to resort to extraordinary measures. This is an acknowledgement of defeat of their vaccine technology and their platform and campaign. They're saying that we have to go so far out on the edge that we're really crossing a line, we're breaking the law, but we have no other choice because our technology is not meeting the need. We're not able to produce vaccines fast enough to get ahead of these virus mutations.
Well, that went right over my head, so thank you for calling that to our attention. Amazing. So you're describing a motive that makes some sense. It's not just about money. They want to create an effective vaccine, but it sounds like, as you put it, they're going to exactly the place that got us COVID in the first place. But how is that allowed?
Precisely. So the biowarfare treaty is like a cheesecloth that's so leaky. This is not a hard prohibition. And Pfizer is a global company, that's quite clear, with massive resources, the ability to conduct research in virtually any region, and, by the way, a very close relationship with the government of Israel, which is not a signatory to the biowarfare treaty. So they have all kinds of ways they can do this if this is the ethical choice, or I shouldn't say the unethical choice, probably, that they appear to have made. They have the ability, with their money and power, as you've seen, to define rules and construct their own reality.
I mean, the question of regulation, this is a much longer conversation, but someone who lived in Washington for a long time, was very struck by his description of regulatory capture at pharma and Pfizer specifically. Does that sound right to you?
Absolutely, and in fact, this is the second time that Veritas has caught somebody saying this. They caught a employee at BARDA basically saying the same thing, as I recall previously. This is widely known. It was covered in The Big Short in terms of the SEC. This is standard, as you point out correctly. This is standard practice in D.C.
I mean, you'd think Congress would pass a law, the White House, or the agencies of regulation. If you're regulating an industry, you can't take a board seat in that industry right after leaving. Why is that hard?
Yet we have Scott Gottlieb as the poster child. He took a 2-month vacation after he left the FDA and then joined the board of directors of, what was that company? Pfizer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's completely corrupt. That is corrupt. Dr. Robert Malone, thank you so much for your perspective tonight and that information.
Anytime, Tucker. Thanks for being a friend.
Appreciate it. So one of the most amazing parts of the story is that it's hard to read about it online, and big tech seems to be running interference for Pfizer and companies like Pfizer. How is that? That's not a free press. So one member of Congress says he has a plan to stop this, to stop big tech from colluding to hide meaningful information from the public. We're going to speak to that member in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Elmer Heinrich, president of a company that sells Immuno 150, the most complete nutritional product on the market. We've been in business since 1983. Immuno 150 contains 9 exotic fruits, 13 vitamins, 17 herbs, 18 amino acids, 70 minerals, CoQ10, turmeric, flaxseed, and a lot more. The 70 minerals are the key. Immuno 150 has what your body needs, especially the 70 minerals, because you have probably never consumed more than 20 minerals in your life. My wife and I have taken Immuno 150 for many years. I'm 88 years old and she's 80, both in perfect health. No aches, no pains, nothing. Now place your order for Immuno 150 and include a supply for your children and grandchildren because they need 70 minerals as badly as you do. Our website, phone number, and the cost of a month's supply of Immuno 150 is listed on the screen. So don't hesitate, order now. Like thousands of others, you won't believe the results.
A once ignored educational epidemic has become a nationwide issue.
We are destroying an entire generation of children.
Our public schools have become cockpits of the culture war. If they can't change the way you think, they want to change the way your children think.
We're not getting a sex education that talks about responsibility.
The teachers' unions have become puppet masters, and they are controlling legislators at all levels.
You're going to see not just testing, but all standards abandoned.
They're trying to impose one accepted worldview to the exclusion of all else.
We've seen just how many ways kids have been held hostage to an agenda right under their parents' noses.
Pete Hegseth hosts The Miseducation of America, Season 2, streaming now. Then join the conversation as Pete hosts a live summit right now about how to get involved in what's happening in today's classrooms, all only on Fox Nation.
When we tried other diet plans, honestly, it was a waste of time and a waste of money.
Are you throwing away food and not getting results? Wait to get